Hey guys, we're live. I'm here. Jayne. This was in the Shape of Solid members group, so you guys know what this is because I've been promoting it. For you guys on the work off from 6-week challenge, this is a little extra bonus for you. You didn't know this was coming, so it's a nice little extra for you. I'm joined by Jayne Hornsby, who is another fitness professional like myself, and me and Jayne were actually part of the same little group at one point. We were doing our sort of mentoring, so we kind of met through there, and we were discussing, well, myself in the group and Shape Solid group have been discussing all of last month about ladies that lift. That was the theme of the group, and it was all about the benefit of strength training on with women who I primarily work with. We did a lot of stuff based around that. And we're also going to talk a little bit about nutrition, dealing with the summit as well. But I couldn't think of anyone better to have on this topic than Jayne, because I've been following Jayne's social media for a good couple of years now, and she's the perfect person to talk about this topic with, and Jayne will share with that shortly. So, guys, any questions that you want to ask, fire them away in the comments, and I will ask Jayne, or I'll answer. We will both answer while we're here. You've got two for the price of one today. You've got two personal trainers here to pick the brains of. You won't get that opportunity very often, so use that time to ask us anything, and we'll fire that away towards the end as well. Jayne, how are you, love?
So I'm from Rotherham, so Sheffield, because not everybody knows Rotherham. In fact, a lot of people don't want to talk about Rotherham, which is understandable. So yeah, Sheffield way. Yeah, it's not an awful lot going off up here. Strangely enough, we are also linked, Callum, to where I used to live, which was Lanzarote. We weren't really aware that we knew each other, sort of, or the people from when I lived in Lanzarote. So yeah, really strange how it's a small world. So yeah, I feel like I've known you years, although I have only known you a couple of years. So yeah, I'm in Rotherham now. I came back. I've been back here now from Lanzarote for the last 17 years, I think it is, coming up this year. So I am definitely back on home ground without a doubt. And I came back actually having lived abroad, doing something completely different to what I do now. I've done a few jobs. And some have always kind of been linked to fitness in some way. But I started my fitness journey way back so high. I was a gymnast from a very, very young age. So I think I've gained a lot of discipline and motivating myself from the discipline that comes from being in gymnastics. I mean, we trained 5 times a week, and it was a case of you showed up, and whether you liked it or not, you did what they said. So I think that's probably served me well as I've grown up, although I wouldn't have known it at the time. So after gymnastics, I went into trampolining, because you get to a point where you don't want to do gymnastics anymore, or you can't. I wasn't competing, but I was very good at gymnastics. And I went into doing trampolining. So again, back into fitness still. And I kind of hit my late teens, met my husband to be, and that kind of went out the window. Although he was a footballer and he did a lot of weight training and running, and I kind of fell into running and had a little brief kind of experience with weight training, although I didn't know what I was doing. And when he was off working away, I would go to the gym 5 times a week. I would eat a diet that at that time I had found Slimming World, which I know you will love, Callum. But I did Slimming World and I did weight training 5 times a week. But I had no idea what I was doing. I was eating, although I was eating healthy, I was probably eating way over my maintenance calories. And definitely not in a deficit. I didn't even know what a deficit was in my early 20s. I mean, that was just gobbledygook to me. And I don't think anybody of my age group really knew what a deficit was, because, I'm 48. I've just turned 48. And my era is, eating loads of lettuce leaves, eating as little as possible and running on the treadmill or doing as much cardio as you possibly can to lose weight. It was never anything about what it is now. It's completely changed, but I will come to that in a bit. So, yeah, I just kind of trained 5 times a week. I walked in the gym and I was like, okay, what's free? So I'd jump on the treadmill straight away because that intimidation of don't really know what I'm doing. So I'll just get on the treadmill and I'll just see what's free. And then I'd wander to that machine, didn't really know what muscle group I was working. And then I'd wander to another machine. And that's kind of how my training went. And then I'd go and spend an hour in the sauna. So that was my training from, sort of in my 20s. And then I kind of didn't really do much after that. It kind of went into running. And then sort of 12 years ago, having aged a little bit and needing to lose a little bit of weight, I'd been into running, like I said, and I'd hurt my ankle, so I'd gained a bit of weight. And again, I fell into a different diet, which has kind of been what's put me here. Somebody told me about the Cambridge Weight Plan, and I thought, oh, what's that? I never heard of that. So I thought, you know what? I'll go along with this lady that had mentioned it because she'd been literally disappearing in front of our eyes in the office. I said, oh, I'll come with you tonight. And I went away and went to her consultation and I signed up that night. I thought, oh, I only want to lose half a stone. Lost that in a week. And obviously because I was eating 0 calories.
I'm aware.
And I kind of thought, I was going to do this in a week. Yeah. What can I do in a month? And that's kind of how I attacked that. 2 stone later at that point, that was it. I was sold and I went, yeah, I'll be a consultant. I'll do this. I want to spread the word. Again, still didn't know, still wasn't educated on the calorie deficit or how to come back out of that diet and low calories. But I became a consultant and I became a very successful consultant. And it's only now that I know what I know that I shouldn't have gone into that. Having said that, and I don't advocate that kind of diet. Having said that, if it wasn't for that diet, I wouldn't be where I am today because it's from doing that diet that led me on to weight training, that led me on to getting a personal trainer, which is a game changer. If you are trying to do this on your own, good luck. And like I said, right at the top when I started, I feel that I have got an immense amount of discipline. And I think that's why Cambridge worked for me because it was literally blinkers on. I am doing this and I am going to lose the weight. And I just did it. No messing. There were no cheats. There were no time off plan. It was literally every single day. My products, sleep, water, repeat. That was it. And I think, like I said, that comes from that. And not everybody's like that. And that's something that I've become to appreciate, that people struggle day in, day out. And if you haven't got that mentality, it is so hard. But yeah, having the personal trainer is what taught me about, building muscle and why it's so important to have strength, especially as women. And in my age now, as I'm getting older and hitting the perimenopause, now it's crucial. It is so crucial to be weight training and building muscle. And the amount of mindset shifts that I have created with my clients and my academy, you wouldn't believe. So they all come in, yeah, I want to lose all this weight, and then I get them into weight training and it's like, nah. I want to be strong. I want to do this lift. So it's kind of completely, I've turned everything upside down and I'm so glad that I have. So I don't regret what I've done. I have no regrets in any of my past jobs or what I've done in life. I think you should never have regrets. You should try things and see what happens. It will lead you to a different road. So yeah, I am glad I've done what I've done because it's brought me here, and becoming a personal trainer because of my personal trainer and what I've learned. Anyway, I'll shut up now. So yeah, no, that's kind of what's brought me to weight training.
I think everyone has a similar story in the sense that no one just walks into weight training, particularly not women, I don't think, because of this stigma that, well, we know the stigma. In fact, I've had an example of this not that long ago from one one of my clients here at the gym. She's lovely, and there's not much to her. Okay, but she's a bit of this. She's probably similar age to yourself. Okay, from that, you mentioned about calories before. That older mentality that isn't so. Obviously, the internet's changed things, hasn't it? But back then, my mum's the same. I can say things through one ear straight out the other, right? And it's this idea that women are going to get bulky if they start lifting weights. And I had this literally probably last year. It's a stark difference to now, very similar to yourself. And she came in, we're doing barbell squats, right? Standard stuff. And I said, oh, you're pretty strong. You're not going to go with a barbell. You're only talking 12 to 15 reps, standard 20K barbell. And her exact words, and I brought this up to her only the other day, was, oh, no, because I don't want to. She actually said, the sentence, I've never heard someone actually say it, right? I've known about it as a bit of a meme or whatever. No, I don't want to get bulky. And I was shocked that after doing this for 8 years now, that was the first time I'd heard them words, and I couldn't believe what I was hearing. Anyway, fast forward a year, now she's loading up her plates and she's killing it. But that's because she was coming from that mindset of, no, I just need to lose weight. I need to do cardio, right? But now what she understands is actually her metabolism is faster. She's got a hell of a lot more strength. She's so much more fitter. And now she's dropped that wall of that stigma of what she believes is going to happen. And now she's like, no, actually, I want to get stronger and I'm not going to bulk up. And I said to her then, I said, look, if you want to get bulky, let me tell you now, you need a hell of a lot more testosterone and a little something that probably comes from the back of a truck that's not legal to make that happen. You're not going to be doing either. You either need a shitload of calories, which you're not going to be doing. I said, there's nothing wrong with getting bulky. You're not going to get bulky doing a 20K barbell squat. The pennies drop now, but even now I still have more and more people, and it's the same thing to shift from. But just like her and like yourself, Jayne, no one just walks into weightlifting, I don't think, without some there's got to be a reason for it. And like yourself, I think what tends to happen with me, and I know similar with your academy, is that people, and I'm in two different groups now, so this is interesting because there are people now listening in my 6-week fat loss challenge, and all the workouts at the minute are body weight, right? And a lot of it's educational. I'm teaching people get moving, understanding what a calorie deficit is, protein stuff, and you're going to lose some fat.
Foundations.
Yeah, but we're now also streaming in my Shape Sully, my online membership group, Signature Academy, where actually the workout programs that are included on my app now are, and what a lot of these guys are enjoying, the kettlebell program, the gym-based program, the dumbbell program. And it is a smooth transition where the later foundation's fine. But now what starts happening with some of the people listening in that group, they're already past all that. They now love doing squats. They love setting PBs for themselves and being able to learn how to do a push, pull up and stuff. So I do think it's a smooth transition, but it can take a long time, like it might have done for yourself, Jayne. What do you think is the way to sort of break that stigma? Because I know both me and you bash our heads against a wall trying to, but it's different for me because I was a guy who wanted to do that, wanted to get bulky, right? I was a young skinny lad that I wanted to be that person, but for you it's very different. So is it weird for you being that person and now you're the one that's teaching your clients the same thing, or do you find that experience is what has helped you be a coach?
Oh, absolutely, the experience, without a shadow of a doubt. I think there is nothing better than experience because you can talk about it firsthand. You can teach certain things, but I think actually when I've only qualified, I'm in my 3rd year as a personal trainer. I qualified, very late on in life. I should have done it years ago. I've been a Zumba instructor. I should have done it years ago. But I guess I didn't feel confident to be able to do that, not knowing that actually my age was a massive benefit to being a personal trainer and having all the experience that I have. So this is what I'm saying about being part of Slimming World, Cambridge Weight Plan. I've been there, I've done it. So there's nothing you can tell me about it that I don't already know. You know, and I know how, you know, the stigma of all those different diets, and, you know, I think you've got to kind of go through them to appreciate what's good and what's bad. So yeah, I think now looking at it, it gives me a massive advantage to put it out on social media that, you know, at this age, most of my clients are my age. Most of my clients will say it's because of your straight talk, it's because of you sharing your experiences that has made me gravitate towards you. It's because of your age that I have gravitated towards you, because you understand. And it is harder at my age to build muscle. So all my clients are coming to me that are dieted for years and are absolutely, not only is the metabolism on the floor, their confidence and everything that goes with it, their mindset is on the floor because they just give up. You know, and funnily enough, my email that's gone out today is all about, you know, how many women I hear say, oh, I'm getting too old now. 40. It's not old. You know, I'm too old to be lifting weights. I'm past it now. I'm too old to be changing my body. I've dieted all my life, and yeah, but you've done what I've done and not appreciated how to do it properly. So that's a great experience that you've had. Now let's do it right. So that didn't work. You know, trying to lose weight didn't work. You've been chasing the tone all your life. Well, in actual fact, you should have been weightlifting, because that's where tone come from. You know, and trying to explain to somebody that tone is actually building muscle. It's not being, you know, massive and hench. It's just what it does to your body. You know, until you show somebody how it affects the body by weight training, they never really appreciate it. And it's only when you get them into it, and it's really hard to convince women of my age to get into training. But you know, when they're in it, it's just like you see a whole new woman. You know, these women are like, don't want any help from anybody. They're like, no, I'll carry it. You know,
I'm seeing it with my mother-in-law.
Yeah, it's just, you know, but I do think it, you know, like I say, when I was younger, there was none of this what's on social media now, and I think there's been a massive shift. I still think it's down here, but the likes of myself, women that are coming along and, you know, putting content out there and, you know, showing the strength and showing that you can still be feminine. You know, building muscle doesn't mean that you aren't feminine. If anything, it makes you more feminine, because you want to wear the clothes that show off that tone. You know, so for me, you know, you want to build more muscle, and it takes a shed load of dedication. And most of the women, you know, that are on this earth, general population, do not have the time and effort and energy to be able to build muscle like bodybuilders do. I've done a bodybuilding diet and a bodybuilder, and I almost did a prep without doing a competition. I was on the cusp of maybe going for it. It is the hardest thing you will ever do. And even I wasn't building muscle at that point to a level that people are scared of. So it, you know, you need, like you say, stuff that falls off the back of a lorry. You know, you need to be injecting or taking tablets to give you that extra boost to get that bulky. You know, the women that you see on social media being that bulky are prepping for shows, and they're in different cycles, and the food is meticulous. You know, general population are not going to get to that point. So it's the one thing that everybody needs to stop worrying about from a woman's point of view. You know, so yeah, but I do think that social media is definitely plugging, and it needs more women, you know, sharing their journey, whether they are personal trainers, whether they are influencers, whether they are, you know, athletes, or just, you know, Mary down the road that's got into weight training, sharing her journey. We need to do more of it, because you don't realise how you are changing that shift, you know, from it just being all about men lifting weights. It's not anymore. It's the in thing for women to lift weights and get strong.
You mentioned, like, I've just had one of my groups, my client Michelle, says that she did to Cambridge to the point where it basically drove her to an eating disorder. and it's a stark difference. What I think one of the things that gravitate people to myself, or the sort of thing that I've tapped into as a personal trainer, where I really found out what my thing was, what makes me different from these things, is very one sentence. This is what I'm about, and it's I'm not about restriction. I'm about implementation and adding habits, not removing. And what tends to happen is when you add new habits, building muscle, getting your strength, you start ridding some of the old habits or belief systems that you used to have. And just like we've touched on, suddenly I'm not bothered about losing scale weight anymore. It's nice, it'd be great if it happens, but suddenly, hang on a minute. And some of these people in my programs now are starting to feel it doing the workouts, thinking, hang on a minute, I can keep up with my kids. Because I work with mums primarily, okay? That's the people that I tend to focus on. And what I see from them is suddenly they can keep up with the kids. So the children are feeling the benefit of the strength and fitness that's coming along. Their partners are noticing, the mother-in-laws are even noticing. And what they're seeing is aesthetics. They're not necessarily seeing scale weight. It's just a gravitational pull to the earth. If you lose enough of it, you'll see it. What they're seeing is recomposition from building muscle. And now, so you mentioned something before about like feminine and building muscle. What a lot of people don't, what a lot of women don't realise is losing a load of scale weight doesn't mean you lose a load of wobbly bits. So you don't necessarily look much better. But if you start toning, we'll just use the word toning, Jayne, because we both know what it means. But let's just go with the general consensus. We'll throw that word tone about. Just a side note, guys, personal trainers don't like the term tone, but we're going to use it because we're going to speak your language.
It's what most people talk about. So it is speaking that everybody's language. Yeah. But people, if you don't know any different, that's all you know.
Yeah, exactly. We know what it means, so we're going to go with it. And if you're toning your arms and your legs, I use this story because I got married in Cyprus, and obviously it was quite a superficial goal. But I know I'm going to be standing on a beach, right, topless, with a lot of my friends, that have come with me to this day. I know they know what I do for a living. And again, it's superficial, it's shallow, but it was enough to get me going. And I thought, I cannot be the one there without a six-pack. I can't. Now, if any of you have ever tried to go for a six-pack, guys, it's the most miserable thing you'll ever do in your life. It is awful. I don't recommend it. Except not having abs. You don't need them. I know plenty of miserable people with six-packs. But I made it happen. And this was the most, I prepped for this. This was the strictest my diet had ever been. Anyway, I dropped, I think something like 5% body fat, and I gained something like 5 pounds of muscle, right? But I only dropped, here's the thing, Jayne, I lost 1 pound on the scales in 12 weeks I'd prepped for this, okay? Now, I get there first day, tops off, right? Because we're by the pool bar. My mum, I mentioned my mum before, right? She's a lot more educated now because she's also a client. But back then, she comes up to me, first thing she goes, oh, look how skinny you've gone, look how much weight you've lost. And I'm thinking in my head, you have no idea what you're looking at here. Aesthetically, you're seeing the body fat drop because I've been building muscle, so I actually look smaller, right? But I've dropped 1 pound of scale weight. And that can apply to so many other people. So when you mentioned before about like the feminine thing, don't be scared to build muscle because actually you're probably going to look smaller. I've used this analogy on videos. If I was to grab a piece of paper and say that that's body fat, and I was to grab a pen there and say that's muscle, but they both weighed the same, which would you want more of? So build muscle and lift weights. Jayne, I know you mentioned some good things you wanted to touch on, and you mentioned before about the society attitudes, and yes, it is getting better. But you said before it's still down here. What do you think needs to be done to get that higher? What obviously we send a message out, but what does society need to do in general? What needs to happen to get people to get that message higher? That actually we need to be strength training.
That's a hard one because like I said, the only way that you can do that is to create more content around it and to you see, it's difficult because when you're playing against the big hitters, like, you know, the diet companies that are the opposite end of the scale, it's really hard. So I now use that as something to talk about and don't shy away from it, because I think the only way to shift that mentality is to talk about it and be honest about it. And to, you know, share clients, you've got to share clients' testimonials, and it doesn't have to be the typical, you know, weight loss photo. And they're very easy to throw out there. But it needs, you know, videos from strength training, you know, that kind of thing, that more women and male PTs like yourself need to be sharing, you know, the women and how it's just completely changed their life. You know, it's more than just, like you say, aesthetics, because, you know, it changes the whole thing. You know, it affects relationships, how you are with your friends. You know, some people move away. I lost friends when I got into fitness properly. I lost my whole friendship group because I no longer sat within what they did. You know, going out and getting drunk every weekend, and, you know, then, you know, hangover food, and, you know, going out for Sunday dinner because you felt like rubbish. So, you know, we need to show more of the positive stuff that comes from strength training, and, you know, the strength that empowers women to go on to do other things, you know, get new careers. I mean, like I say, I became a personal trainer in my 40s, my mid-40s. You know, some women wouldn't even dream of changing career. And yeah, I second-guessed it, but it impacts everything. So women have a responsibility, and men have a responsibility, more so probably, to show that women are sexy by lifting weights, that they're actually more sexy and more empowered by lifting weights. So yeah, I think it's every personal trainer's I mean, there's some chronic influencers out there that are just doing it to sell stuff. You know, it's more about them than it is about the clients. So you've got to be careful who you follow. And I think there has to be maybe some kind of regulations out there to stop that. Excuse me. But yeah, I think there needs to be more put out there. There needs to be more of this conversations, open conversations about it. You know, because women are scared still to do weight training, or to talk about the fact that they are weight training, because, you know, I have stuff, you know, put on my post that I have. I see it in a lot of the people that I follow who are pretty good women, and they are lean from doing the right things, not because they starve themselves. And the amount of comments that I get, or that they get, which is, well, you look like a man, or women shouldn't have that kind of muscle. And it has to stop. It has to stop. You know, and it's, unfortunately, Callum, it is men that are scared. It's not women making those comments, it's men. And I think that's the whole thing. Men are frightened to death that women are going to take over, you know, and that we are going to become stronger and, you know, more dominant than they are. And, you know, I don't think that will ever happen. But I think we will become a lot more equal than we've probably ever been. So yeah, definitely need to get more out there.
I wouldn't argue with that. Women run the world, man. That I love women. What can I say? That's why I work with women, because they're brilliant, right? Working with guys would be easy.
Yeah.
Far too easy for me. It's harder working with ladies. This is why I've made it my business to go and educate myself on menopause, menstrual cycle, all these things, because it is harder for women.
Yeah.
And I don't care what anyone says. No, it is. And that's why it's more of a challenge for me, but I enjoy it because of what you just mentioned before. I've worked with guys here too, in person, and it's very easy. Faster metabolism, they just go like that. But they haven't been through that same struggle, which leads to that same appreciation. Whereas when I've worked with women, and particularly mums I mentioned before, suddenly it's different. because they have got hormones to contend with. They have got stereotypes and views and comments or fear of comments from other people that you've just mentioned before. They have got kids. A lot of the time, some people have got kids to deal with. There's loads of different things going on. And that, for me, is more rewarding as a personal trainer, because I'm helping with all that stuff as well, and going to show, do you know what? Yes, these things are barriers, and don't let any man tell you they're not. But actually, it's more rewarding once you've conquered that, and once you are building, you are getting stronger, you are building strength, and suddenly you don't give a shit about comments. When guys will say, "So I don't find that attractive in women," but no one gives seven shits what you find attractive. And most of the people that are saying that, by the way, because I follow a lot of male fitness people, they love it when their partners are also getting into that stuff as well. It's brilliant. Most of the comments that are coming from guys are coming from guys who they couldn't get the type of girl that they're wanting anyway. So I don't know why they've got any point commenting, and no one cares what they find attractive or not. It's ridiculous. And I think for me, something attractive, if we're going down that route, is I find that, my wife likes training. She loves lifting weights. I love that. I love that, because it's not just about how they look. The fact is, the confidence is there, and confidence is attractive, right? We all know that confidence is attractive. Well, if someone's getting confident because they're lifting weights and they're feeling strong and they're feeling fitter, and what I love at the gym, when I see ladies and they're going like that, they're like, oh, look at that, love it, absolutely love it. And I get a buzz off that. I'm like, there you go, you've got your little bicep there, look how amazing you look and feel. And they're like that to me is so much more rewarding than someone who's trying to drop down to a size 0.
Yeah, if any of my clients come to me with a weight loss goal, I am adamant that is alongside a strength goal, even if they're starting out at body weight squats. I will always say, right, so if you've got this weight loss goal, that's fine, but that's just going to be a byproduct of what we are going to do in the gym. So I want you to now go away and pick a strength goal. If you're starting on body weight squats, we want to get you to, doing goblet squats, or we want to be getting you to doing barbell squats. So there's always look for the next level. If you've never done a pull-up before, let's just try and get a pull-up. I always try and get them to focus on something else, because while they're focusing on that strength goal, they're not worrying about the weight. And that's when the shift works, because suddenly they're here, they're no longer here. And then they're like, oh, hang on a minute, I've lost a bit of weight. And I hadn't even really been thinking about it. Well, it's funny, because when you stop thinking about it all the time and obsess over it, it actually happens. Because you're building all the other habits.
Yeah, I was going to say the great irony on my 6-week challenge, which a lot of these guys watching are on now. Some of them have done it for like the second or third time, so they already know this. The great irony here is I've run a fat loss program, right? But what I constantly teach people whilst they're on this program is, do you know what? Scales don't matter. And people find that bizarre, because they'll think, well, hang on a minute, I've come here to lose weight. Yeah, that's great. I'm not saying it doesn't. But exactly what you just said, what people tend to realise is when they stop obsessing with a number on a machine and start worrying about all these other benefits, suddenly the scales start dropping. And that's because they shifted, just like you said, they shifted the focus. Yeah.
I've got a picture in my studio, and it's, if you go onto my social media anywhere, you'll find it. And it's 3 pictures of me. One, when so I redid Cambridge 5 years ago, okay, to prove a point.
So I've seen this picture that you're talking about.
Yeah. If you do it 100% to the letter, and I'm going to tell you a little story here now. I did it for 18 weeks, 18 weeks solid, not a thing past my lips that shouldn't do. And I did reverse diet out of it. Okay. I went to Benidorm for a 5-night girls' bender, and I stuck to that diet on 4 products a day and my water while they were caning it. And I just used to go in with them and sit when they had their lovely food at the day after their big breakfast. I'd wait till they'd ordered it, and then I would go and go for a walk. That's when I'm saying not everybody has that mindset, and I think that's come way back from what was instilled in me when I was younger. But I did this to prove a point. So I did it for 18 weeks. I did reverse diet, so I did get up to 1,500 calories. That was when I met my PT, and I was skinny. Yes, my BMI was 22.5, okay? But I looked ill. And I never ever want to be Skinny Jayne, because Skinny Jayne got no compliments, got told I look like a boy. I've lost my va-va-voom, right? That's what I got told 3 stone lighter. So then I started building weights. And the third photo, started building muscle with weights. So the third photo is me at the same weight as the first photo, not the middle photo, the first photo. So I gained 2 stone, I lost 2 stone. I gained 2 more stone and I look better than that first photo. And that's because I built muscle. That photo just speaks volumes. You don't even need words in it. But to start at a weight and finish at the same weight, but look completely, my body composition was completely different. And that's given me the ability now to, when I do a deficit, I don't have to do 800 calories. My deficit's like 1,800 calories, because my maintenance now is about 2,200. I can maintain my weight on that amount of calories. So, you know, and if I go into a surplus to really build some muscle, I mean, at one point I was on 3,500 calories, which doesn't sound a lot if you're somebody that eats a rubbish diet. You try eating a clean bodybuilder's diet on 3,500 calories. It is long. It is hard. You know, because you think of all the food, the veg, the volume of food, it's less calories. So you try and eat 3,500 calories. You know, I wasn't gaining fat at that point when I was building muscle, and that's how I got to that. But it's allowed me now to go from right at the beginning, where I dropped calories really low, to go up and to bring up now, so that when I want to maintain, I can maintain a really good healthy diet, an amount of calories, which I never could have done.
Yeah, talking about calories then, because the one thing I wanted to switch over to a little bit is the nutrition side of things as well.
Yeah.
You obviously mentioned before, because we're currently on the 6-week challenge. Protein is the new thing, the topic of this week. And one of the common things, of course, and it ties into what you just said, chasing the protein and the calories at the same time is one of the hardest things to do in this industry. Okay, I'm a fitness professional and I still can't master it. I know plenty of bodybuilders that blend chicken and drink it. Right now, I'm not prepared to do that. But people think weight loss is hard. This is what makes me laugh. My saying I throw all the time is, weight loss is simple, but it's not easy, right? The concept is so simple. It doesn't matter what hormones you have. It doesn't matter what thyroid issues you have. Yes, they are barriers, 100%, and no one's disputing that. But at the end of the day, the law of thermodynamics remains the same, okay? If you have no fuel in a car, it's not moving, right?
Yep.
And the reality is that calories is always going to be key. But when we're talking about building muscle, toning up like we've been talking about, suddenly now it's not just about that anymore. Now we've got to throw protein into the mix. Now we need micronutrients. Now our muscles are snobby. They want vitamins and minerals. They don't want any old shit. So you can't just go on a 3,000 calorie bulk eating pizza and burgers, because the muscles will go, nah, not interested. I have an analogy. I created a video on this. Some of the people listening will know what I'm talking about. I call it the night out analogy. And what I did was take this idea of imagining that three guys, we'll call them Bob, Barry, and Butch, right? Get in a taxi, they're ready for a night out. They get to a nightclub, right? They're a bit boozy, they've had a bit too much to drink. The doorman go, nah, you're not coming in. Don't give a reason. We don't want your sort in the nightclub. So off to go to the White Lion. That'll take them all in. Yeah. Have a lock-in. We'll stay open till 3 o'clock. Drink, throw up, end of the day. But these guys, let's call them Martin, Dean, and Archie, right? They're out in the limo. They've got a Hummer limo. They're all dressed to the nines. They're off to the nightclub. Yeah, straight in. Yeah. Then I'll say to people now, I want you to imagine that the nightclub was muscle, the White Lion was fat cells, the limousine was fibre, the people dressed in, all dressed up to go to the nightclub was your micronutrients, your protein, your healthy fats, omegas, fatty acids, all that stuff. And yet, Bob, Barry, and Butch is your sugar, fat, transaturated fat more specifically, and crap. Let's call it crap. And basically what that analogy was meant to be was you get to a point where once the scale weight goes, fine. But if you're actually trying to change your body shape, you're not going to do that just on a calorie deficit alone, because your muscle tissue will go, no, I don't want that. That's not going to help me grow. That's not beneficial to me. So then what you have to do is eat more fibrous and protein food. But then, because like you just said before, because they contain no calories but so high nutrition, now you can't get that many calories. So now welcome to the hardest part of a body transformation. And now we've come around full circle. Scale weight is not the hard part. Anyone can lose scale weight. Jayne's just given a perfect example, going on a particular diet to make that happen. But she wasn't healthy. She didn't feel healthy. She didn't look healthy. Scale weight's not... Actually, the harder part is, we're going to use this term again, toning up, which even then is one of the most difficult parts of any. So weight loss is easy, fat loss is, I think, is the point I'm trying to get to there. So let's go into the nutrition side of it, Jayne. What is your recommendation to people? Because I'm having a lot of that now on my challenge, which is people going, I'm only setting them 80 gram of protein a day, which to me and you is nothing. But to these people who've never done this before, that's a lot. They're not used to that amount of protein. Plus, I'm telling them not to drop the calories too low either. What would be your advice there, particularly as a lady?
So I always set 2 figures. One is calories, one is protein. And I try and, although I give advice around the other nutrients, I try and not give, too much of a headache to my clients, because trying to hit calories and protein is one of the hardest things you'll ever do. Trying to match them two together is like, it's a quiz that you're never going to win. So suddenly I have clients saying, how much protein's in this, and what should I have with that, and and I'm like, right, okay. And I always say it like this: calories you can carry over, protein you can't. So protein you need to try and hit every day. So whatever figure you are given by your coach or whatever you are setting yourself. So if you're setting people 80 grams, that is what you want to be looking at. And you want to be searching the supermarket for the best way to get high protein and low calories. That's how I try and get my clients to do it. So I have all sorts of pictures in my inbox, of stuff that they found, or I encourage them to put it in the academy to help others. So everybody's flying off to Aldi to pick up the protein yogurts and the Greek yogurt and all the protein stuff.
25 gram of protein for 89p, by the way, guys. And my fridge is stacked with peach ones. You will never get 25 gram of protein for that little. Get yourself to Aldi. I shouldn't be telling you that because you're all going to clear the shelves and there's going to be not for me.
Yeah, exactly. My cupboard is full of it. So yeah, I do encourage my clients to do that kind of thing. However, I also say try and get 25 to 30 grams of protein at every single meal. That is like, bog standard. If you can hit that at every single meal, you are well on your way. So ultimately try and get it from, natural protein sources. So, your lean cuts of meat, so your chicken, your turkey, you've got your salmon, that kind of thing. Eggs are great, but they're not a massive amount of protein. Greek yogurt is up there with it. So, that I always try and prioritise that. Fruit and yogurt is a great one, especially now the weather's really good. You can make like popsicles, can't you, for the summer weather and stuff with yogurt and stuff like that. So, I always try and say, make sure that you try and stick to a certain amount of protein per meal. That should start you off. And then if you are really struggling, then get into the protein shakes and, all the other stuff, from the protein companies. I am a My Protein PT, so it helps me to promote their products if clients are struggling, because not only am I a PT for them, but I have tried their products. I know their products work, and it gets in that extra protein as well. But ideally, even that being said, I always say try and get it from natural sources if you can, because that's the best way to do it. But if you're really struggling, then yes, protein shakes, protein mousses, protein mug cakes are my thing at the moment to try and get extra protein in. But now I find it ironic because I struggle. I mean, this is the joke. Considering the amount of protein that I was not on when I was doing said diet, hence why I look completely depleted, I went and had my bloods done because I thought I might be menopausal last year. And the only thing that came back from them bloods, would you believe it? She said, "Do you eat a lot of protein?" Yeah, why? She said, "Your levels are just a tad maybe higher than I'd like." I struggle to get under 180 grams of protein daily now. Daily. But that's education. That's consistency. That's from trying to find the calorie and protein ratios. Been there, done it, got the t-shirt. So now again, I can educate my clients to do that. But yeah, I find it really hard now to understand how people struggle to hit their protein, because I am like trying to push it down because I'm eating too much. But it's a battle. It's a constant battle. But again, there's been a shift again where everywhere you look in a supermarket now, it's all about protein. Protein this, protein that. Everything's, made of protein. So I do think, again, there's been a shift. So it is easier. But trying to educate people why protein is so important is hard. Is really hard.
I mean, other than just saying that it's made up of amino acids that are the building block of muscle tissue.
Yeah.
Growth and repair macronutrient. That's where the limit lies. But what I do say to people is, do you know what? When you start having high protein diet, that's when you really start feeling your body changing. Because we've mentioned before, a calorie deficit's a calorie deficit, right? And yeah, you might lose scale weight, you might feel lighter. But what I tend to feel like is when you're eating loads of protein, yes, you might trump a little bit more and it won't smell very good for a bit. And sometimes when people are up in the protein, they might feel some gastro issues just slightly at first because the body's not used to it. It doesn't know how to break it down.
Yeah.
That's why fibre comes in. But once you've got past that barrier and you get to where you say, Jayne, suddenly I've got a couple of people in my groups now and they're posting, we're doing accountability, they're sharing the nutrition, and there's a lot of people that are like at 50, 40 grams. And that's a lot for these people. And I'm saying to him, I can do that right now in half hour. But that's not me bragging. That's me. I've, like yourself, Jayne, this has become normal to me. My target is well over 200. Okay. Mine's well over 250. And I struggle to hit that at times. Depends on what mood I'm in, because I'm also trying to keep my calories high. Depends on what kind of phase I'm in. Am I in a slight bulking phase, or am I in a pre-holiday cut? You know, I'm off to Lanzarote in 2 weeks. So right now, I'm intermittent fasting, which I only promote if people understand what that's doing as well, which we'll talk about. So there's all these different tools and stuff, but I think you just hit the nail on the head. Education is key. That's why I don't just give people workouts. I don't just go, right, yeah, here's some workouts. People will come to me, and the first thing they do on these channels is, what should my calories be? Well, I don't know that. That's on you. I don't know your lifestyle. I don't know your genetics, your anything hereditary. I don't know your hormones. That's on you to figure out. But what I can do is educate you on calories, educate you on protein, educate you on these things, take that information in. The first thing I say on any of my programs, literally on my welcome video, is there is going to be some shit that you've been taught over the years from diet companies and the media. And for this to work, and for these guys who are watching, listening to this, for any of this stuff that Jayne and I are telling you, for it to work, for it to go in, we need you to clear your mind of all the bullshit you think you know, right? Whether it's true or not. Don't worry about that.
Yes.
Clear your mind, completely open your mind, make some room for the stuff that we're going to teach you, and then make your own mind up. And 9 times out of 10, or even 10 times out of 10, you're going to forget all the garbage that you think you know about. You can't mash up bananas, and avocado's bad, but Coca-Cola cut gammon's fine, and limited pasta's okay, all that shit. And you'll start focusing on, actually, I can eat what I want within reason. I can, because we've used the word shift a lot, Jayne, and I love that word, because I am seeing the shift not only in society, but I see it in small term on a per person basis. But I literally watch that moment, that pinnacle moment where people go, actually, I can eat this. I don't need to avoid certain foods. I can. And that's why I said to you before, I said at the very beginning, I'm about implementation, not restriction. If you like a drink at the weekend, go and have a drink at the weekend. If you like a Mars bar, have a bloody Mars bar. But whilst doing that, start increasing your steps, your general activity, start incorporating some resistance training, definitely chase that protein, start drinking more, start finding some time to not necessarily meditate, but I'm a big fan of journaling, start finding some time, suddenly you realise suddenly now you can still have a drink, you can still have chocolate, but you're not having as much anymore, because now you've implemented these new habits. You've found that you've started removing them automatically, rather than being going, right, here's a points-based system, don't eat that, don't eat that, don't eat that, be miserable. Yeah, you'll lose weight, but you're going to go right back again.
I always say to my clients when they first come to me, whether it's face-to-face, whether it's online coaching, whether it's in the academy, whatever it is, I always say, right, do my calorie calculator. Let's get a figure of what you should be, right? So protein and calories. But I want you to bank that number. Then, I now want you to go away and either use my app to log your food or use MyFitnessPal, and I want you to do a normal week. I don't want you to start being good. I want you to go away and go and do me a normal week, because I guarantee that people come to me and say, do you know what, Jayne? I hardly eat anything really, and I can't understand why I can't lose any weight, or, blah, blah, blah. I'll go, okay, well, let's see what you are eating then. So off they pop with their calories in mind that I've told them they should be on, and they're thinking, Jesus, that's high. How much protein? Off you pop. Go and do your login, and all I want you to do is get used to logging. Just log everything that passes them lips. Log it before you lick it, is what I always say.
I love that.
So off they go, and I guarantee within 24 hours, I get a message that goes, oh my, I didn't know there were that many calories in that amount. Oh my God, I've just weighed my cereal. And I say, so you said you didn't eat very much. Well, I don't really, but it's the amount of calories in what you eat. that is causing the problem. And the umpteen, drinks that you have on a weekend, it's that kind of thing. So then what it does is they don't want to cut them out. They just start to find alternatives. So I just said, don't cut this shit out, because you have to live your life. You have to do this thing that we're talking about, this healthy lifestyle, for the rest of your life. There is going to be summer to contend with. There's going to be Christmas to contend with, Valentine's Day. There's going to be Easter, and, the kids being off at half term. Never mind anniversaries, weddings, birthdays to throw into the mix as well. If you are looking for the perfect time to do this, to have a clear run, give up, because it's not going to happen. So you have to work around this by having some of the stuff that you still enjoy, but incorporating the good stuff into that as well. So your diet is the best diet you'll ever do. Your own diet is the diet you should be doing. You just need to bring it in a little bit and swap a few things out. And that's how I do it. And the minute they start to realise that they can have stuff that they enjoy, but they will have to sacrifice other stuff as well, the switch, again, the shift in, well, actually, I'll have more of the good stuff and I'll just have a little bit of the bad stuff, because that little bit of the bad stuff, as they call it, because nothing's good or bad, but it's the only way that we can interpret it. I want to have less of that because I want to have more of this. And it just works so much better than saying, you can't have this, you can't have that, don't touch this, don't touch that, you can't have a burger because that's shit food. Let them go and have the burger, but let them log it. And the minute they log it, it's like, don't want a burger, I don't want a burger, I'll have the burger, I'll just not have the bun. That starts, and they start to take things out and put other things in. And it's brilliant to watch. I love it. I absolutely love it. But give them that control initially of what they are eating. And then when you see that light bulb, they start to say, oh, what could I have instead of X? What could I have instead of this? So instead of my lager and my bottle of wine on a weekend, what can I have instead? Love it. I just love it. Gives them the empowerment to change their own lives.
It's called autonomy, and it's ultimately what I class as the end goal of my job. That's the way I look at it. I feel like people might say, okay, well, your job is to take people from A to B, right? But if people lose weight, my first response is, you'll get this, Jayne. Right, I've just got 2 stone to lose now. Till what? 2 stone till what? Or people go, right, yeah, just want to get down to that to 10 stone. And then my response is, okay, cool, then what? And no one has the answer. They've got no idea, because you can't stay there, right? It's Newton's law. You're going one way or the other. You can't stay there. So you run about that switch again and the autonomy. I get everyone start off like that. Okay, I'm a female fat loss specialist, so that's the comments I get on a regular basis. Right, I've just got 2 more stone to lose now, whatever, right? And I'll just go, yeah, cool, okay, because I already know that goal is going to change once they finish working with me, because no longer is it going to be about getting to this magic number. Suddenly it's like, well, hang on, what you're saying is I can eat more calories, because actually I'm changing what I'm eating, I'm moving more, I'm actually giving my body I'm fueling my body, so actually I can lose more weight by eating more instead of starving myself. That's one of the lessons people learn, that I can build muscle, I won't get bulky. Once they start learning all these things, suddenly they forgot what their initial, and I'll do this sometimes, Jayne, particularly clients who've worked with me for a couple of years or more, I'll often send them back to some of the first things that they said to me. And I mentioned my client here at the gym before, a year ago, when she went from, I don't really want a barbell, I don't want to get bulky, to now she's deadlifting 70, 80k and loving it. And I'll often remind her, go, do you remember that time you said that to me? And she'll go, oh yeah, I'm a different person now. That's my end goal. So if anyone says to me, well, what do you do? What do you do as a personal trainer? My job is to get people to. I don't need people to stay with me forever. For me. That's not the point of being a personal trainer. I don't just want to get people to lose weight and right. That's it. You have to stay working with me to keep losing weight. No, my job is to show you from A to B, and I'm going to keep you at B until we reach the point of autonomy, where now you want to do this yourself. You know how to do it. You want to do it. And you mentioned before, it's an amazing thing. And now I've got clients who've been with me for 4 or 5 years, and they're the ones helping the newer people and giving them advice, sharing protein. I love it. In fact, and now I've got the next stage for me, Jayne, is to be an assessor. That's what I want to do, because I've got ladies who have got into weightlifting, and now I'm putting them through their PT courses because they've seen what it's done for them. And now my new passion is watching other people do what we're doing, and because they have the same passion for it, it's amazing.
Yeah,
it just fitness, man. Fitness is amazing, and whilst everyone wants to lose weight and fat, I get it.
Yeah, totally get it. I just think until you're in it, until you embrace it and understand it, and like I said, get that light bulb moment, you just don't understand it. You don't understand how it affects the rest of your life, because weight loss is great. And having been a weight loss consultant, I've watched many people lose weight, but they aren't happy at that, or they don't make it because of that type of industry in weight loss.
Yeah.
Change that on the opposite side of the fence into what I do now, which is more fitness based and education. I always say I'm the driving instructor of the fitness world. You come in, you get educated, and you go and do it on your own. The amount of people that would prefer to stay is mad, because they want to stay in that bubble of continued education, new ways of working, new ideas, or if it's in my academy, they don't want to leave because it's the accountability that they need to keep pushing them. So yeah, some people stay, but some people, I always say to a lot of my clients, you could let go and go on your own, but they know that it's paying for a coach, and coaches need coaches, can I just say? Whether it's business coaches, I've had business coaches, as Callum has. I'm getting to a point where I'm ready for a PT again, just to have my own accountability. Every coach needs a coach, and somebody who's been coached will get further because of having that coach, because it gives them somebody to look up to, somebody to impress, somebody that they are paying to make them be accountable. So yeah, it's to be in that fitness bubble, in that energy, in listening to how it's changed new people's lives. To be in that, you have to be in it to understand how good it feels. So yeah, for anybody new coming in, it's difficult to try and, if I could bottle it, I would. If I could bottle the feeling and sell it and say, this is the feeling of being on this side of the fence, there you go, take that away, this is how it feels, I would, because I don't think people appreciate how it feels to be in that constant diet, restriction, weight loss bubble that is lonely and sad, and going to events that you can't, we haven't even talked about going into, navigating things that you have to around, nutrition and going to parties and all the rest of it. But when you learn all of this, that becomes so much easier. And people that are just stuck in weight loss, scale weight, and need to be skinny, don't appreciate that on this side of the fence, we're loving life. And yes, it's hard, and it will always be hard. It's consistently hard, but it's a lot less hard than that bit over there.
Absolutely, and I know we was going to tap into stuff like barbecues and picnics, but to be fair, I think some of the stuff that you've talked about We don't need to. I think
Kind of
it's
covered it.
become very. I think we've kind of covered it within a different thing because it all ties into the same thing. And I think you mentioned it before with like the protein and stuff, because that's basically it. If I'm going to, if we're giving people advice on how to cope with the current season, and we've already touched about social events, birthdays, picnics, barbecues, even going out for drinks and stuff. I mean, it's hard to look for protein when you're going out drinking, but there are ways you can do it. We've talked about the calories. You can make small changes. You can go with a gin and slimline tonic, not a Copperberg cider. I know they taste nice, but they've never seen an apple or any form of fruit. They're very high in calories. You can still enjoy these things. Or one tip I give to people is scan them in on MyFitnessPal early. It will shock you, but guess what? It might make you have less of it.
Knowledge is power.
Knowledge is power, and I think that's all we can give people. It's go look. There's only so much I can repeat. People will say, right, Callum, I'm going out. I'm going out. What should I eat? Well, that's a very open-ended question. Have a look at the menu beforehand. Where's the protein coming from? Centre everything around that. Nothing else matters. Don't worry about what about the carbs? Don't worry about the bloody carbs. I know you're doing 10,000 steps a day. I know you're doing my workouts. You don't need to worry about the carbs. Okay, your body's happy of those carbs. What about fats? We're not doing Slimming World. Stop worrying about fats. So you're left with one thing: your protein. Well, there might not be a menu. Okay, well, we know what's meat. We know what, we can do it. I'm a vegetarian. Well, guess what? Best stock up on some kidney beans. It's like, for me, we've already kind of covered it. Protein. Would you agree, Jayne? Protein is the way.
Yeah, totally. Definitely. And I think you've just got to, just be mindful. I think if you can pre-plan what you're going to do at these events, and it makes life so much easier. It really does. Or there's the alternative, which is you have to be a bit more restrictive going into it if you're just going to go balls deep. Do you know what I mean? There's a sacrifice somewhere. You either don't sacrifice the week leading up and the week after because you want to go balls deep. You either sacrifice before and after because you want to go balls deep, or you do normal and you sacrifice at the event. There's a sacrifice somewhere. There is balance, but balance means somewhere you're going to have to go without something to be able to have something else. So you either plan ahead, make sure that you're a bit more mindful, make sure you're enjoying the food that you're eating and you're not just randomly picking off a buffet, or, that you're actually enjoying the food that you're having, and tasting it, and you're not just caning the drink, that you're actually enjoying the drink and being present in the moment, and enjoying having that a little bit more relaxed time. But yeah, there's always a sacrifice somewhere. You can't have it all. You can't have your cake and eat it, but you can, in a way.
I love it that the irony there is the cake. The irony of that saying is, on this occasion, we are literally talking about cake.
Yeah. And I love cake.
Hey, Jayne, put your shameless plugs in. Where can people go and find you and check out a little bit more about your content? Don't go stealing my clients.
On all I am all on social media, so TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, and it's all the same. It's Jayne Hornsby Fitness, Jayne with a Y, so it's JayneHorns for sugar, BY Fitness, Jayne Hornsby Fitness on all of them. You'll find me jumping about, doing random videos, being a bit sarcastic. You may find some bikini videos. When I'm on my holidays, that's my thing as well. That's a bit of female empowerment.
There's one each day, right?
That comes with the confidence, the weight training. What was that, Callum?
There's one each day because it is the usual. Here is the ensemble for today.
Yeah, it's all part of the fun. I think it's good to see the other side of the, fitness side of it. But yeah, so yeah, I post nearly every day. Some of it's fitness content, some of it's around your mindset, some of it is just sharing my experience, my stories. I'm very transparent about my life and my experiences. I am going through the perimenopause at the moment, so that's one thing that I'm sharing. I've just started at this late stage with creatine. That's a whole new podcast. So yeah, I'm sharing all those experiences at the moment because again, that is valuable for anybody going through the menopause. So yeah, if you're interested, head over and come and follow me for a little bit of fun and frolics.
Okay, Jayne, I'm going to let you go because I told you this was going to be half hour. We've doubled that, but we did think that this was going to happen, didn't we? We did think this was going to happen.
That's my problem.
I'm the same. All right, Jayne, thank you very much. Lovely speaking to you as always. Hopefully, I'll catch you on the volcanic rock at some point, or if not, I'm only an hour down the road from you anyway.
Exactly.
We won't be strangers. And thank you very much. And
thank you
for coming on.
See you later.